Hi viewers, you are welcome to another session of calculus. Today I will teach you one of the important part of calculus, important part of integration, which is known as integration by parts. Integration by parts actually deals with to integrate the product of two functions. Integration of a product of two functions is known as integration by parts. We have already differentiated, we have already learned the derivative of product of two functions. But today I will teach you how to integrate the product of two functions. Let u and v be two functions of x. Now u into v is the product of two functions u and v, and our aim is to integrate u into v. So integration of u into v, integration of a product of two functions. Integration of a product of two functions is known as integration by parts. So integration by parts means integration of a product of two functions. बाय पार्ट्स हम कहाँ अप्लाई करेंगे? जहां हमको दिया जाएगा प्रोडक्ट ऑफ टू फंक्शंस. अगर टू फंक्शंस का प्रोडक्ट दिया जाएगा, उसका इंटीग्रेशन करने के लिए हमको अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा इंटीग्रेशन बाय पार्ट्स. सो इंटीग्रेशन बाय पार्ट्स मीन्स टू इंटीग्रेट द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ टू फंक्शंस. एंड हमको पता है प्रोडक्ट का डेरिवेटिव कैसे करेंगे, प्रोडक्ट रूल अप्लाई करके. नाउ हाउ टू इंटीग्रेट द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ टू फंक्शंस. सपोज हियर इज to integrate u into v. This is the product of two functions, and the integration of a product of these two functions is, the formula is as integration of first. Suppose u is here first function, v is second function, and the formula is integration of u into v minus integration of u into derivative of v. This is the formula of by parts. This is the formula for integration of product of two functions. Here the two functions are u and v, and the integration of product is integration of u into v minus integration of u into derivative of v. So this is the integration of product of two functions, and we can name it this formula in another way. Like suppose this u is first function and v is second function. So the formula is integration of u means integration of first function into second. So look at here are two parts. In first part, integration of first into second. Here second function remains same as a function. There is no derivative of v, no derivative of int. Here to integrate the first function, but there is no integration of second function. Minus here is, look at here, integration of first into derivative of second. ये जितना होगा सेकेंड पार्ट में जितना रहेगा ये होल का इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट इंटू डेरिवेटिव सेकेंड. सो इन बाय पार्ट्स फार्मूला क्या होता है? फार्मूला क्या है कि सपोज यू फर्स्ट फंक्शन है, भी सेकेंड फंक्शन है, इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट इंटू सेकेंड माइनस इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट इंटू डेरिवेटिव सेकेंड. ये जितना होगा होल पार्ट का इंटीग्रेशन, मतलब इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट इंटू डेरिवेटिव सेकेंड. सो हियर इज एन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग, very important also. How? Look at the students, when we are differentiating u into v, here the formula is derivative of u into v plus u into derivative of v. So here what happens, you have to differentiate u and also differentiate v. That means in the formula for product of derivative, that means in the derivative of a product, the derivative of two functions u and v is required. The two derivatives are required in case of product. जब प्रोडक्ट का डिफरेंशिएशन, जब प्रोडक्ट का डेरिवेटिव कर रहे थे तो टू फंक्शंस का डेरिवेटिव जरूरत था. लेकिन लुक एट हियर, इन केस ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ प्रोडक्ट, डेरिवेटिव ऑफ प्रोडक्ट टू फंक्शंस का डेरिवेटिव चाहिए, जरूरत है, बट इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ प्रोडक्ट, here what happens, you need the integration of u only, there is no integration of v. Here v is the function remains the same as function, and here is the derivative of v. One important thing, in the derivative of product, product का derivative में क्या हुआ कि दोनों functions का derivative हो रहा था. Here first function का derivative, here second function का derivative. But in case of इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ प्रोडक्ट, जब प्रोडक्ट का इंटीग्रेशन हम निकाल रहे तो दोनों फंक्शंस का इंटीग्रेशन जरूरी नहीं है. यू हैव टू इंटीग्रेट वन फंक्शन, द इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ वन फंक्शन इज रिक्वायर्ड एंड द डेरिवेटिव ऑफ अनदर फंक्शन इज रिक्वायर्ड. सो दिस इज द फॉर्मूला, इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट इंटू सेकेंड माइनस इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट इंटू डेरिवेटिव ऑफ सेकेंड. ऑल्सो डियर स्टूडेंट्स, there is another formula of bypass, u into v is equal to v into u. So this formula also can be written as, don't remember this, I simply write it as, I can write this formula as in another way, like integration of v into u minus integration of v into derivative of u. This is also another formula. Here integration of u is required and derivative of v is required. Take integration of u, derivative of v. Here integration of v, derivative of u. These are the two formulas. But there is no necessity of remembering two formulas. दोनों formula remember याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. You simply remember only this formula, which is integration of u into v minus integration of u into derivative of v. Every functions are not integrable. All functions are not integrable. हर function integrable नहीं होते हैं. तो क्या करेंगे? तो you have to choose a function which is integrable. तुमको जब two functions दिया जाएगा u into v, तो क्या होता है कि जब बाईपार्ट्स फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करेंगे, ये बाईपार्ट्स फॉर्मूला है, जब बाईपार्ट्स फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करेंगे तुमको ऐसा एक फंक्शन चूज करना पड़ेगा which function is easily integrable. You have to choose a function which is easily integrable, and the function which is easily integrable, then integrate that function and differentiate the next function. Here the only thing is, in bypass formula one function is to be integrated. You have to integrate one function and differentiate another function. बाईपार्ट्स फॉर्मूला की खासियत यही है, एक फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन होगा और दूसरा फंक्शन का डेरिवेटिव होगा. तो तुमको जो दो फंक्शन दिया जाएगा, तुम क्या करोगे, उसमें से ऐसा एक फंक्शन निकालोगे जो इजीली इंटीग्रेबल होगा. सपोज तुमको मिला कि दो फंक्शंस, एक फंक्शंस का इंटीग्रेशन हो सकता है, दूसरा नहीं हो सकता है, तो तुम क्या करोगे, जो फंक्शन इंटीग्रेशन हो सकता है उस फंक्शंस का इंटीग्रेशन लो और दूसरा फंक्शन का डिफरेंशिएशन करो, डेरिवेटिव करो. अगर दो फंक्शंस इंटीग्रेबल हो सकते हैं, अगर दोनों फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन निकाल सकते हो, दो फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेबल है, दोनों फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन हो सकता है, तो उसी समय क्या करोगे, द फंक्शन व्हिच इज इजीली इंटीग्रेबल, जिस फंक्शन आसानी से इंटीग्रेशन हो सकता है तो उसी फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन करो और दूसरा फंक्शन का डिफरेंशिएशन करो. ये फॉर्मूला का खासियत यही है, वेरी इजी ट्रिक है. इन केस ऑफ प्रोडक्ट तुमको जो टू फंक्शन दिया जाएगा u इंटू v, in take integration of u and derivative of v. So which will be u function? The function which is easily integrable. So remember this only formula. यही फॉर्मूला याद रखो. तो तुमको दो फंक्शन दिया जाएगा, तुम एक को फर्स्ट फंक्शन लोगे और सेकंड फंक्शन दूसरा, एक फंक्शन को सेकंड फंक्शन लेंगे. तो फर्स्ट फंक्शन किसको लेंगे, which is easily integrable. जो फंक्शन इजीली इंटीग्रेबल हो सकता है उसको u ले जाना, मतलब फर्स्ट फंक्शन, और जो फंक्शन बच गया उसको क्या लेंगे, सेकंड फंक्शन. देन अप्लाई दिस फॉर्मूला. सो द स्टूडेंट्स, द फॉर्मूला फॉर बाय पार्ट्स इज इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट इनटू सेकंड माइनस इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट इनटू डेरिवेटिव ऑफ सेकंड. वन इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रिक अभी मैं बता रहा था कि you have to choose a function as first function which is easily integrable. जो फंक्शन easily integrable होगा तो तुमको उस फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन लेना है और उस फंक्शन का नाम क्या देंगे, फर्स्ट फंक्शन. बट हमको कैसे पता चलेगा, हम किसको फर्स्ट फंक्शन लेंगे, किसको सेकंड फंक्शन लेंगे? क्या कोई फंक्शन को दिखते ही पता चल जाएगा कि ये इजीली इंटीग्रेबल है? वी कैंट रिकॉग्नाइज. Simply we can't recognize which is easily integrable. So how can we choose which is first, which is second? So I will give you a simple trick by which you can remember the easiest way to choose the first function and second function, which function is to be integrated and which is to be differentiated. मैं सब तुमको सुपर ट्रिक बताऊंगा आज. वो ट्रिक अप्लाई करके तुमको पता चल जाएगा which function will be integrated, किसका इंटीग्रेशन होगा, किसका डिफरेंशिएशन होगा, किसको फर्स्ट फंक्शन लेंगे, किसको सेकंड फंक्शन लेंगे. लेकिन याद रखना मैं जो फॉर्मूला दिया है उस फॉर्मूला में फर्स्ट फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन होगा. सो अभी मैं बताऊंगा कौन सा फंक्शन फर्स्ट फंक्शन होगा, कौन सा सेकंड फंक्शन होगा, which will be the first function, which will be the second function. और in order to choose I will give you the formula इडली, तुम्हारा सुबह का नाश्ता, टिफिन ऑफ योर ब्रेकफास्ट. By this सुबह का नाश्ता you can remember which is first function and which is second function, and I named it as इडली. This इडली will say you which will be the first function, which will be the second function. How? Look at here. What does it says? यही इडली ही बता देगा तुमको कौन सा फंक्शन फर्स्ट फंक्शन का, कौन सा सेकंड का, किसका इंटीग्रेशन करेंगे, किसका डेरिवेट करेंगे. तो क्या है ये इडली? इडली का फुल फॉर्म है E फॉर एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शन, E टू पर x और A टू पर x. T for trigonometric function, which is sin x, cos x, like this. There are 6 functions. Next is algebraic functions. You know in general algebra जहाँ होगा, where there is general algebra of x, including the variable. Next is L is for logarithm function, log x at the base A or ln x, log x at the base E. And the last one is the inverse function or the sin inverse, cos inverse. These are inverse functions. So this इटली is stands for this 5 types of functions. इटली 5 types का functions को बता रहा है. तो ये इटली कैसे बताएगा? Dear students, तुमको 2 function दिया जाएगा. You have given 2 functions, and these 2 functions must be included within these 5 types of functions. These 2 functions must be included within these 5 types. That means these 2 are included here. So तुमको जो 2 फंक्शन दिया जाएगा, वो जो 2 फंक्शंस है वो 2 फंक्शन से 5 फंक्शंस के अंदर ही है. तो तुमको दिखना पड़ेगा कौन सा फंक्शन फर्स्ट आता है, कौन सा फंक्शन सेकंड आता है. जो फंक्शन इस सीरियल में फर्स्ट आएगा वो फंक्शन फर्स्ट फंक्शन होगा, और जो रह जाएगा वो सेकंड फंक्शन होगा. द फंक्शन which appears first in this list, in this serial, will be treated as first function. You have to integrate that function, and the next function is the second function, and you have to take the derivative of second function. So इस सीरियल में जो फंक्शन पहले आएगा वो फर्स्ट फंक्शन होगा. द फंक्शन which appears first in this list is the first function, and the next function will be second function. So how can you recognize? I am taking just an example. Suppose you have given a question to integrate x into e to the power x. Now look at here. This is the product of 2 functions. One is x, another is e to the power x. So in order to integrate a product of 2 functions, we have to apply by parts rule. I have already said by parts rule हम apply करेंगे to integrate product. By parts rule is applied to integrate the product of 2 functions. So in order to integrate this product, we have to apply by parts rule. But in order to apply by parts rule, we have to choose which will be the first function, which is the second function, because we have to integrate the first function. हमको first function का integration करना है और सेकेंड फंक्शन का डेरिवेटिव. सो फर्स्ट फंक्शन कौन सा होगा? तो हमको दिखना पड़ेगा ये फर्स्ट ये सेकेंड. ऐसा नहीं कि हमको जो दिया जाएगा वो फर्स्ट है मतलब फर्स्ट फंक्शन, ये सेकेंड है मतलब सेकेंड फंक्शन. ऐसा नहीं होगा. हमको देखना पड़ेगा सुबह का नाश्ता, इडली में कौन फर्स्ट आता है? सुबह पहले आता है सुबह का नाश्ता. सो ये जो एक्स है, दिस इज अलजेब्रिक फंक्शन and this is exponential function. This is algebraic function, this is exponential function. Look at here. This is algebraic function means here. This is exponential function is here. So say which appears first, which comes first in the list. ये सीरियल में कौन सा फंक्शन फर्स्ट आता है? एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शन. सो एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शन फर्स्ट आता है मतलब e टू द पावर x इस सीरियल में फर्स्ट आता है. तो ये होगा फर्स्ट फंक्शन और ये होगा सेकेंड फंक्शन. दैट मीन्स वी हैव टू टेक e to the x as first function because e to the x is exponential function which appears first in the list. I am taking another example. Suppose you have given x into sin x. To integrate this product, x into sin x. X is algebraic function, this one. Sin x is a trigonometric function, this one. So now in this serial, trigonometric function comes first. That means this function will be first function and x is the second function. That means we have to integrate sin x and differentiate x. sin x का इंटीग्रेशन लेंगे और x का डेरिवेटिव. सो ये सीरियल में जो फंक्शन पहले आएगा वो फंक्शन का हम इंटीग्रेशन करेंगे और जो बाद में आएगा उसको सेकेंड फंक्शन लेंगे, उसका डेरिवेटिव होगा. डियर स्टूडेंट्स, हम और एक बार बोल देते हैं कि जब डेरिवेटिव कर रहे थे प्रोडक्ट रूल अप्लाई कर रहे थे, जो टू फंक्शंस था u और v, दोनों का डेरिवेटिव हो रहा था. बट इन केस बाय पार्ट्स फॉर्मूला, प्रोडक्ट का इंटीग्रेशन जब कर रहे हैं, बाय पार्ट्स फॉर्मूला अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, ये इधर टू फंक्शंस का इंटीग्रेशन नहीं हो रहा है, एक फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन हो रहा है, दूसरा फंक्शन का डेरिवेटिव हो रहा है. जो फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन हो रहा है हम उसका नाम दे दें फर्स्ट फंक्शन. और फर्स्ट कौन सेकंड कौन कैसे पता चलेगा? सुबह का नाश्ता इडली, वो इडली में जो पहला आएगा वो फर्स्ट फंक्शन, उसका इंटीग्रेशन करेंगे, जो सेकंड आएगा उसका डेरिवेटिव करेंगे. डियर स्टूडेंट्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू रिमेंबर, इन केस ऑफ डेरिवेटिव ऑफ प्रोडक्ट the derivative of two functions are equal, but in case of by parts means integration of a product, you have to integrate one function and differentiate another function. The function which is to be integrated, I named it as first function here, named it first function. And which will be first function? The students, this Italy can say which is the first, which is the second. The function which appears first in the list, first in Italy, will be treated as first function and you have to integrate that function, and you have to derivative, you have to differentiate the next function. So now let us discuss some examples. Now one example is to integrate x into sin x. So here is the product of two functions, one function is x, another function is sin x. यहाँ two functions दिया गया है और ये दोनों प्रोडक्ट फॉर्म है. और प्रोडक्ट का इंटीग्रेशन करने के लिए हमको बाय पार्ट्स फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. एंड बाय पार्ट्स फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करने के लिए दिस इज द बाय पार्ट्स फॉर्मूला, दिस इज द फॉर्मूला फॉर प्रोडक्ट, दिस इज द फॉर्मूला फॉर प्रोडक्ट इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ टू फंक्शंस. बट द स्टूडेंट्स, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू चूज द फंक्शन which is to be integrated. So how can we choose? I have already said the formula Italy. Now look at here, this x appears here first, but this is not the first function. We have to look into the fact that out of these two, which function appears first in this serial, in this Italy serial. तो हमको देखना पड़ेगा ये दो फंक्शन में कौन सा फंक्शन ये इटली सीरियल में पहले आता है, वही फंक्शन का हम इंटीग्रेशन करेंगे और दूसरा फंक्शन का डेरिवेटिव करेंगे. सो लुक एट हियर, दिस इज अलजेब्रिक फंक्शन a एंड दिस इज ट्रिगोनोमेट्रिक फंक्शन ta. सो t पहले आता है, दैट मींस sin x इज द फर्स्ट फंक्शन. सो दिस इज फर्स्ट फंक्शन एंड दिस इज सेकेंड फंक्शन. बाय दिस फॉर्मूला, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रिक, ये सुबह का रास्ता वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रिक, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रूल. So the students, this is first function, this is second function, and we have to apply by parts formula. And the by parts formula is integration of first means integration of sin x into second is x minus integration of first into derivative of second and is integration of a whole. So this is integration of sin x is minus cos x into x minus integration of sin x is minus cos x into derivative x is 1 and integration of the total. So this is minus x cos x minus is plus integration of cos x dx, which is equal to minus x cos x plus derivative cos x is sin x plus c. And one important fact is here, we have already integrated this sin x and also sin x, and integration of sin x is minus cos x plus c. There must be a constant, but dear students, dear viewers, remember one thing, though we have integrated here, but there is no necessity of putting a constant with this term. If you put a constant here, then the by parts formula or the integration will be completely wrong. So this is the by parts formula, and we apply the by parts formula and the Italy trick. We apply the by parts formula and the Italy trick to integrate the product of two functions x into sin x. Another example is to integrate x square into e to the power x dx. Here is the product of two functions x square, another is e to the power x, and in order to integrate this product, we have to apply by parts formula. And in order to apply by parts formula, first we have to select which is the first function. Now look at here, this x square is the algebraic function, and this e to the power x is the exponential function. So in the serial, Italy serial, this is the trick which can say which comes first, which comes second, which function is to be integrated. So here one is the algebraic function, another is the exponential function, and in this list exponential function comes first. So this e to the power x is the first function and this is the second function. Now we can apply the formula, and the formula for by parts is integration of first into second minus integration of first into derivative of second. So now the formula is integration of first is here e to the power x, integration of first into second means x square minus integration of first is e to the power x into derivative of second is x square, and integration with respect to x. Now this is integration of e to the power x is e to the power x into x square minus integration of, here is integration of e to the power x is e to the power x into derivative of x square is 2x, and is integration. So what happens? X square into e to the power x minus, look at here dear students, in first example we apply by parts only once. अभी जो पहला एग्जाम्पल किए थे x into sin x, by parts formula एक ही बार अप्लाई हुआ था, but in this example we have to apply by parts formula twice. How? Already once applied. Now here is to integrate e to the power x into 2x. This is a function, this is also a function. So function into function, u into v. This is also product of two functions, and we have to integrate product of two functions. And for the integration of a product of two functions, we have to apply by parts formula. So here also we have to apply by parts formula. If we have to apply by parts formula, then we have to choose which is first function, which is second function. But the students, the first and second can be selected from this Italy. So look at it, dear students, I want to say one thing. If you have given two functions, in product form, and you have to apply by parts, suppose in these two functions, one is the exponential function and another is any function. So dear students, as exponential function comes first in Italy, so look at here, very important thing, remember exponential function is always first function. exponential function always first function ही होगा, क्योंकि इस सीरियल में एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शन पहले ही आता है, तो जो फंक्शन इसके साथ आएगा वो तो बाद में आएगा. सो एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शन पहला फंक्शन होगा. एंड अनदर थिंग याद रहा, एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शन इज ऑलवेज फर्स्ट फंक्शन एंड इनवर्स फंक्शन इज ऑलवेज सेकेंड फंक्शन, बिकॉज एक्सपोनेंशियल पहले कोई फंक्शन नहीं है, वो फर्स्ट होगा ऑलवेज, और इनवर्स के बाद में कोई नहीं है, इनवर्स फंक्शन ऑलवेज सेकेंड फंक्शन होगा. सो ये एक्सपोनेंशियल फंक्शन इज ए फर्स्ट फंक्शन एंड algebraic function is second function. So you have to apply again by parts here, and the by parts formula is integration of first, I am writing here exponential function is here, integration of e to the power x means e to the power x, integration of first into second means 2x minus integration of first into derivative of second is 2x and is integration. So here is x square into e to the power x minus this is 2x into e to the power x, and is minus into minus is plus, integration of this is e to the power x, integration of e to the power x is e to the power x into derivative of 2x is 2 with respect to x, this is x square into e to the power x minus 2x into e to the power x plus 2 is constant, and integration of e to the power x is e to the power x plus c. So here we integrate this function by applying by parts twice. Look at dear students, if this question is replaced by xq into e to power x, suppose we have given a question xq into e to power x. If the question is xq into e to the power x, then in order to integrate this, you have to apply the by parts formula thrice. ये फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन करने के लिए बाय पार्ट्स तो अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, बट 3 times, here 2 times. So look at here, the degree of x, हाईएस्ट पावर ऑफ x जितना होगा तुमको उतना टाइम्स बाय पार्ट्स अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. आज का क्लास वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट. टुडेज क्लास इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज ऑफ we will learn the new things, very important things today. We have learned the derivative of log x, but we haven't learned yet the integration of log x. Today I will teach you how to integrate log x. Dear students, the integration of log x can be evaluated by method of by parts. But interesting thing is, by parts rule is applied only to integrate the product of two functions. But here is log x, only one function. So how can we apply by parts rule? By parts तो टू फंक्शंस का प्रोडक्ट होगा तो by parts फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करेंगे. बट इधर क्या है, log x ही है. So how can we apply? What we can apply? Dear students, remember very important thing. Integration of log x can be done. Log x का इंटीग्रेशन होगा only by parts. log x का इंटीग्रेशन, लॉगरिथम फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन ओनली बाय पार्ट्स अप्लाई करके ही हम करेंगे. Applying by parts rule, we can integrate log x. Without by parts, we cannot integrate log x. So how can we integrate log x? Look at here. Integrate log x dx. So when you integrate logarithm function, multiply 1. Log x into 1 is log x. So here is log x. I multiply 1. 1 into log x is log x. So no change of the value. वैल्यू का कुछ चेंज हुआ क्या? जहां भी देखोगे logarithm function 1 मल्टीप्लाई कर देना. तो 1 मल्टीप्लाई करने से क्या होगा? ये 2 फंक्शन हो गया. 1 एक फंक्शन, log x अनदर फंक्शन. अब 2 फंक्शन हो गया. दिस इज द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ 2 functions. So now we can apply by parts. So when you have to integrate logarithm function, multiply 1. If you multiply 1, so this is 1 into log x. 2 function. This is the product of 2 functions. One is log x, another is 1. So you have to choose which is the first function, which is the second function. Now look at here. 1 is the algebraic function. In Italy can say 1 is algebraic function and logarithm function is log x. So this is algebraic function A and this is logarithm function. So in this serial, algebraic function comes first. So 1 is the first function and this is the second function. Every logarithm function, in every logarithm function, multiply 1 and 1 is the first function and logarithm function is the second function. Now you can apply by parts to integrate. How? The formula is integration of first into second minus integration of first means 1 into derivative of second means log x with respect to x. So integration of 1 means dx. Integration of dx is x into log x minus integration of this is integration of 1 means dx is x into derivative log x is 1 by x with respect to x. X into log x minus this is integration of 1 means dx. So is x into log x minus x plus c. I have already said, though you have integrating this, but don't put in constant. You have to put a constant after the end of by parts rule. So another formula for integration of log x. Integration of log x is x log x minus x, or you can write it as x into log x minus 1 plus c. So remember, integration of log x is x log x minus x or x whole into log x minus 1. So here this is the process to integrate logarithm function. I am again saying, you want to integrate logarithm function, multiply 1. So apply by parts. For every logarithm function, multiply 1 and apply by parts formula. Another is integrate square of log x dx. So I have already said to integrate logarithm function you have to multiply 1. So I multiply 1 here. So now this become 2 functions. One is 1, another is log x, and this one is algebraic function and this is logarithm function. So 1 is always first function and this is second function. So the formula for by parts is integration of first means integration of 1 is x, integration of first, I'm writing directly, integration of first means integration of 1 is x into second, second is the ln x square, minus integration of first, integration of 1 is x into derivative of second, so derivative of log x square is 2 into log x into derivative log x is 1x, 1 by x, so this is chain rule, log x square, derivative log x square is 2 into log x into derivative log x is 1 by x, and integration with respect to x. So this is the by parts rule, integration of first into second minus integration of first into derivative of second and integration to whole with respect to x. Now is x into ln x square minus integration of, so here is x cancel, 2 comes out, is integration of ln x. Now here in order to integrate log x we have to multiply what, that means we have to apply again by parts formula, that means here by parts formula is applied twice. So dear students, ln x का इंटीग्रेट करोगे तो 1 टाइम बाई पार्ट्स, ln x का स्क्वायर होगा तो 2 टाइम्स, ln x का क्यूब होगा तो 3 टाइम्स. सो नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस, इक्वल टू x into ln x square minus 2 into, so here you can apply, you can multiply one and apply by parts formula, but you have already learnt, remember the formula, याद रख दो, अप्लाई कर दोगे. सो इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ ln x I have already said, x into ln x minus x plus c and simplify to get the answer. So if you want to apply by parts also you can apply, but remember this formula for integration of log x and apply here. I have already said this session is the very important session in calculus. You will integrate, applying by parts means you are integrating logarithmic function and inverse function. We have already know the derivative of inverse functions, but we do not have we don't have any idea about the integration of inverse functions. इन्वर्स फंक्शंस का डेरिवेटिव हमको पता है बट इंटीग्रेशन पता नहीं. हम अभी करेंगे कैसे हम इंटीग्रेट करते हैं, हम अभी इंटीग्रेट करेंगे इन्वर्स फंक्शन का. इन्वर्स फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन कैसे करते हैं अभी देखो. सो लाइक लॉगरिथमिक फंक्शंस का डिफरेंसेस जैसे कर रहे थे, अभी क्या कर रहे थे, 1 मल्टीप्लाई कर दे 2 फंक्शन हो गया, बाय पार्ट्स अप्लाई कर दे. लाइक दिस यू हैव टू मल्टीप्लाई 1 विथ इन्वर्स फंक्शंस टू इंटीग्रेट. Logarithmic functions and inverse functions will be integrated by parts. By parts means you have to convert it into the product of two functions. Then you can apply by parts formula. So in order to convert into as the product of two functions, you have to multiply 1. So logarithmic functions and inverse functions are to be integrated after multiplying 1 and applying the by parts formula. So here is tan inverse x. Multiply 1 here, so this is the product of 1 and tan inverse x, that means 2 functions are here. But in order to apply by parts, first we have to choose which is first function, which is second function. But just before some time I have already said, कुछ समय पहले हम बता रहा था, exponential functions are always first functions and inverse functions are always last function. So this inverse function is always last function, means this is second function. How? This is inverse function means I, and this is algebraic function. One is algebraic function, another is inverse function. So algebraic function comes first in the serial. So 1 is the first function and this is the second function. Now applying formula, the formula is integration of first means integration of 1 is x, integration of first into second means tan inverse x, minus integration of first means x into derivative of second, and derivative of second tan inverse x is 1 by 1 plus x square, integration with respect to x. This is x into tan inverse x minus integration of x by 1 plus x square with respect to x. Now dear students, here divide it to multiply to. Why? This is x into tan inverse x minus 1 by 2. This is function, this is derivative. I have already said derivative by function. Integration of a derivative by function is log function, means this is ln 1 plus x square plus c, and this is x into tan inverse x minus ln, here the coefficient is 1 by 2, so this will be the power, that means power is 1 by 2 means root over of 1 plus x square plus c. So this is the integration of tan inverse x. One important form is integration of e to the power x into f of x plus f dash x with respect to x. That means integration of e to the power x whole into function plus its derivatives. So what to be done here? Now multiply this e to the power x into f of x plus e to the power x into f dash x with respect to x. Now apply addition formula. This is integration of e to the power x into f of x dx plus integration of e to the power x into f dash x dx. Now here is function into function, here is also function into function. Here you can apply by parts formula, here also you can apply by parts formula. But dear students, in this particular form जहाँ लिखोगे e to the power x whole into function plus function का derivative होगा, then don't apply by parts twice in two forms, in two places. Simply apply by parts where the function is present. Look at here the function is present with e to the power x, but यहाँ the function is not present with e to the power x. Here is the derivative function is with e to the power x. यहाँ e to the power x के साथ function है, here is the derivative with e to the power x. You will apply the by parts formula where the function is with e to the power x. जहाँ e to the power x के साथ function है वहाँ तुमको by parts अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, इधर by parts अप्लाई नहीं करना पड़ेगा. कैसे देखो? Now the by parts formula, here e to the power x is first function, always e to the power x is first function, and this is second function. Now what happens? Integration of first means e to the power x, integration of e to the power x into second, integration of first into second minus integration of first means e to the power x का integration e to the power x है, integration of e to the power x is e to the power x into derivative of second, derivative of f of x is f dash x with respect to x plus this is integration of e to the power x into f of x plus this is here what? Integration of e to the power x into f dash x with respect to x. Now what happens? So as the integration is completed here, we have to apply a term c. So look at dear students, this is positive term and negative term both present here, so cancel, and is e to the power x into f of x plus c. So integration of this means e to the power x into f of x plus f dash x with respect to x is e to the power x into f of x plus c. So there is no necessity of applying by parts in the second term. So the students जहाँ दिखोगे e to the power x into फंक्शन प्लस फंक्शंस का डेरिवेटिव है, तो इसी तरह तुमको इंटीग्रेशन करना पड़ेगा. अगर डायरेक्ट करोगे तो कितना होगा? e to the power x into function, e to the power x into function. So the question is to integrate e to the power x into sin x plus cos x. The students, e to the power x whole into this is function, this is derivative, and derivative of sin x is cos x. e to the power x whole into function plus function का डेरिवेटिव. अगर e to the power x whole into function plus function का डेरिवेटिव है तो इसका इंटीग्रेशन कितना है? अभी पढ़े e to the power x into function. That means the integration of this is e to the power x into function is sin x plus c. Another question is integrate x into e to the power x by whole square of 1 plus x. Now I write it as e to the power x whole into x by whole square of 1 plus x with respect to x. I simply add here 1 and subtract 1, plus 1 minus 1. Now why? Look at here, integration of e to the power x whole into x plus 1 by square of 1 plus x. 1 plus x by square of 1 plus x is 1 by 1 plus x minus this is minus 1 by this is square of 1 plus x with respect to x. I suppose I simply reduce this integration, this integrand to this form. Why? Dear students, here is e to the power x, here is 1 by 1 plus x, and here is this one. Dear students, e to the power x whole into this is function, and derivative of 1 by 1 plus x is minus 1 by this one. I can write it as plus minus. So this is e to the power x whole into function plus function का डेरिवेटिव. So e to the power x whole into function plus function का डेरिवेटिव कितना है? e to the power x into function. So this is e to the power x into 1 by 1 plus x plus c. So Dear students, this is the important form e to the power x integration of e to the power x whole into f of x plus f dash x is e to the power x into f of x plus c. e to the power x into फंक्शन प्लस फंक्शन का डेरिवेटिव अगर हो तो इसका इंटीग्रेशन होगा e to the power x into f of x plus c. One important example is the integration of sec qx. Integration of sec qx, here is one function, but this will be integrated by method of by parts. But if we want to apply by parts, then you have to multiply 1. If we multiply 1, then this problem cannot be solved. I promise you one thing, this problem cannot be solved if you multiply 1 and after multiplying 1 you apply by parts. 1 मल्टीप्लाई करके और अगर बाई पार्ट्स फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करोगे ये कभी नहीं होगा. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर्मूला. सो हाउ कैन यू सॉल्व दिस? Simple trick. If you apply simple trick, then this integration can be done easily. How? Look at, dear students, suppose I write it as sec qx is sec square x into sec x. Now dear students, this is the product of two functions. One is sec square x, another is sec x. अब two functions का product हो गया. One is sec square x, another is sec x. Now by parts can be applied. Now we can apply by parts formula. So if we want to apply by parts formula, the very important thing is which is to first function, which is to second function. So look at here, this is trigonometric function, this is also trigonometric function. That means the two functions are trigonometric functions. So who is will be the first function? Or if we found two functions, two different functions in this serial, then one is first, another is second. But here the two functions are same. The two functions are trigonometric function. They are taking so what happens here? These two functions are trigonometric functions. So we can select which is the first function. हम नहीं कह सकते कौन सा फंक्शन फर्स्ट फंक्शन होगा. Dear students, this Italy trick is a simple trick to recognize which is the first function. ये जो सुबह का नाश्ता हम दिया था ये तुमको बता देगा which is first function. But this formula cannot be applied everywhere. ये हर जगह अप्लाई नहीं हो सकता. So what is the actually basic formula? Which is the basic trick to be applied for your? Which is the basic trick to be applied for by parts? The students have already said in the beginning. The only trick is in the formula for by parts. One function is to integrate. You have to integrate one function, and which function is to integrate? Out of these two, which function is easily integrable? Take the integration of that function. The function which can be integrated easily. The function which can be easily integrable, take the integration of that function and the derivative of second function. So now consider between these two, ये जो दो फंक्शंस दिया गया है, ये टू फंक्शंस में, ये दोनों फंक्शन में से कौन सा फंक्शन इजीली इंटीग्रेबल है? वन इज सेक स्क्वायर एक्स, अनदर इज सेक एक्स. दोनों का इंटीग्रेशन है. टू फंक्शंस आर इंटीग्रेबल, बट इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ सेक स्क्वायर, टू फंक्शंस आर इंटीग्रेबल. दोनों फंक्शन का इंटीग्रेशन हो सकता है. दिस टू फंक्शंस आर इंटीग्रेबल, बट इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ सेक स्क्वायर एक्स इज tan x, whereas integration of sec x is ln sec x plus tan x. So which is easily integrable? Integration of sec square x is tan x is easily integrable. So if this is easily integrable, then we have to integrate sec square x and we have to differentiate sec x. तो क्या करेंगे? sec square x इजीली इंटीग्रेबल है तो sec square का इंटीग्रेशन करेंगे, sec x का डेरिवेट करेंगे. सो लुक एट हियर, हम इधर इटली फॉर्मूला अप्लाई नहीं कर सकेंगे. इटली फॉर्मूला कैन बी अप्लाइड टू रिकॉग्नाइज यू कि ये तुमको बोल देगा व्हिच फंक्शन इज इजीली इंटीग्रेबल, बट ये हर जगह अप्लाई नहीं हो सकता. दिस कैन नॉट बी अप्लाइड एवरीवेयर. सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस इंटीग्रेशन इज वेरी स्पेशल फॉर्मूला, दिस वेरी स्पेशल प्रॉब्लम. सो now this is first function and this is second function. Now the students, the formula is integration of first means integration of sec square x is tan x into derivative of integration of first into second is sec x minus integration of first means sec square x, integration of sec square is tan x into derivative of second, derivative of sec x, derivative of sec x is sec x into tan x with respect to x, which is equal to sec x into tan x minus integration of sec x into Now tan x into tan x is tan square x, and write this tan square x as sec square x minus 1, because tan square theta is sec square theta minus 1. Tan into tan square is sec square minus 1. Now look at here, this is sec x into tan x minus integration of sec into sec square is sec qx, integration of sec qx minus sec x dx, which is equal to sec x into tan x minus integration of sec qx dx minus plus integration of sec x. Dear students, very important thing, we are integrating sec qx. In the integration of sec qx there is another sec qx. हम sec qx का इंटीग्रेशन कर रहे थे, and integration of sec qx is something minus integration of sec qx. So what can be done here? Look at here, dear students. In such cases you can put, suppose this is I, that means I is the integration of sec qx. So this is the value of I. Now this is the value of I is equal to integration of sec x into tan x minus I plus integration of sec x is ln sec x plus tan x plus c. Now bring this minus I here, I plus I is 2I is sec x into tan x plus this is ln sec x plus tan x plus c. Now divide it 2, that means I is equal to half of sec x into tan x plus ln sec x plus tan x plus 2 dividing here c by 2, take k, that means where k is equal to c by 2. So this is the integration of sec x, and I hope you are all enjoying my classes. If all these classes are really touching your heart, really you understand all my classes, please subscribe my channel and also share to all the students.